Welcome to Buckets, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Very excited to have DraftKings on as a sponsor. Very excited. Playing some really cool stuff for you this season in partnership with DraftKings here on Buckets. Glad to have you with us. My name is Matt Moore. I'm a senior NBA writer for the Action Network. I just got off the plane. I just got back from Columbia, Missouri, where my Missouri Tigers showed the South Carolina Gamecocks what the real Columbia is, which is the one in South America, because that's the real Columbia. I'm joined tonight by Bryan Fonseca. He's your BFF, the Bryan fucking Fonseca of it all. I'm also joined by Joseph Dellera, host of the Cash That podcast. You can catch Bryan over at the New York Post as well, doing lots of coverage. Bryan's YouTube page covers combat sports, covers the WNBA, covers lots of stuff. So make sure to support Bryan. We want to see him do well, grow the brand, support the agenda. Also, check out the Cash That podcast with Joe Dellera. Programming note, this is like our last quiet week. Starting next week, we'll start picking it up and hitting you with multiple pods a week as we ramp up towards the NBA regular season, which starts at the end of next month on October 21st. On tonight's show, we're going to talk about DPOY and Most Improved Player. Just like a little bit of hey, let's bounce some ideas around. This is a brainstorming session on those two awards is what we kind of want to get into, and we'll start there. A reminder, you should check out the Action Network app. Best way for you to track your picks, as well as you should follow Playbook on Twitter and Discord. You can do all sorts of cool stuff with Playbook. You can ask it, just be like, hey, I want to parlay with X, Y, and Z, and then we'll just give it to you. Once we get into the NBA season, you're going to see me using Playbook a lot on Twitter, and we're using it for our bucket bets and all sorts of stuff. You can use it in tandem with our pro tools, which you can subscribe to. Lots of cool stuff. Make sure to check out Playbook at Playbook on Twitter or Discord. At DraftKings Sportsbook, the Most Improved Player Award is what we will talk about later. The Defensive Player of the Award, Victor Wembanyama, minus 175. Once again, a heavy favorite. He was rolling to this before his blood clot last season. Chet Holmgren's plus 700. Reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Evan Mobley is plus 900. Amen Thompson, the menace that he is plus 1,800. We should really call him the menace. That's what we should start calling it. Lou Dort, who should have won it last year, is plus 3,500. Bam Adebayo, who I will be betting for the 7th year in a row, is plus 3,500. Bryan Fonseca won't even follow me on that, even though he's a sympathizer.
TBD.
Anthony Davis is 35-1. Jaren Jackson Jr. is 40-1. Shea is 50-1 because he was tops in steals last year. Rudy's 50-1. 50-1. Suggs 50-1. Draymond 50-1. Zoo 60-1. Giannis 60-1. Asar 60-1. Kessler 75-1. Tumani Camara 90-1. So let's start there. Let's start right here, right now. None of us want to bet the favorite in preseason. We just don't want to do it. It's not fun. Boring. It seems dumb to be like, I'm going to wait 6 months for my minus 175 payout. That seems dumb.
Yeah.
But Joe Dellera, I didn't think he was deserving when he was running away with it. And I built up on Jaren, and then the Grizzlies fell apart. I cannot sit here and say that I think Victor Wembanyama is the best bet, because I just think there are holes in this game. I think the Spurs' defensive numbers were not stellar with him. His impact is huge, but I still think there's a lot for him to grow into. But man, the narrative around him just seems to be can you believe this guy? And the block rate and everything else. Why should we bet this award at all?
I mean, I feel like the media just wants to give him this award. They really want to give him this award. So it's hard when you look at the odds and when you look at the situation, you go, not only do I need to bet, pretty big minus number, at least at this juncture of the offseason, but he also needs to not get hurt or have something fluky happen to him. I mean, we know that he just had, obviously they cleared him from the deep vein thrombosis, whatever the medical terminology for it was, but they cleared him of that. Seems to be fine. They're saying it's a one-off type of thing. I don't know. Imagine if this flares up. Unfortunately, I hope it doesn't, but imagine if it flares up in the first week of the season and you just are well, this bet's cooked. I just don't see a huge need to go out there. I think we're gonna have to call up DraftKings and get them to add the field option. I think I would love to bet the field and just have an open ticket outside. Just say I don't care who it is. It's just not this guy. I would be very interested in that type of ticket. But a couple names, the numbers are so juicy because Wemby is such a prohibitive favorite that I'm definitely getting intrigued on some of these.
I think here's if Chet doesn't get hurt last year, Chet wins this award. There is no way the Thunder finish with the record that they did, with the defensive numbers that they did, and they don't I still don't know how they didn't win. I do not know how my Ludor tickets didn't cash. Yeah. How did the voters really look at the defensive numbers for this team? Even points per game allowed. You could use the most archaic, boring number imaginable, and you still should have come to the conclusion that somebody for OKC had to win this award. That's how good it was. If you're like, well, it's an individual, not a team award, that's bullshit. We know that the MVP is largely dictated on team success. Like, you're not going to sit here and tell me Shea had a better season than Yoke. From a numbers perspective, can't do that. And I'm fine with Shea winning, but all right, then what's the deal here? Bryan, that there is such a pull here. You're basically just betting against injury, or betting on injury if you're fading him. I guess that's the question: is if Victor plays 70 games, does Victor win this award?
Yes, because of what Joe said about they just want to give him the award. They want to name the award after him. They've been begging, the media has, to just give Victor Wembanyama Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, I think he's an MVP candidate this year if the team is barely a playoff team. Yeah. Seriously, I think people are going to have that discussion.
Yep.
For the duration of however long his prime is going to last, you just can't talk me into a Wemby future before the season starts, because I feel like I'm never going to get a good number on it. Maybe this year for MVP is maybe the only thing, but I'm never going to get a good number on it. Defensive Player of the Year, for example. There's no reason to bet this right now. And on top of that, if I'm looking forward, minus the whole blood clot situation, he's just going to be a walking injury risk for his entire career. So why do I want to pour money into that this early? It just is what it is. We can say all the things about the Spurs are doing this diligently, they're monitoring. It's unprecedented. Somebody at this size moving the way he does, at the usage he has, doing everything that he can do. We've never seen it work for a long period of time. It would be unprecedented if he were to play 65 games a year for the next 10 years. Odds are there's going to be at least a few seasons that aren't that. So for me, I'm just not taking the Wemby future ever, especially if you're giving me minus 200. There are other names on this list that I think are worth talking about. But to me, for Defensive Player of the Year, I can live with the fact that if he's healthy, he'll probably just walk right into this award, because he's going to average however many blocks per game. Even if the Spurs team defensive numbers aren't great, and even if the Spurs are fifth in the conference at best, and they're probably going to be a play-in team, maybe. I don't know what this is going to look like, because I still have questions about how that roster is really going to gel. Just from a basketball standpoint, I think they'll be better. They have more talent. I don't know how it's going to work. You have a lot of guys who really haven't played a ton together, who are going to be playing a ton together if they're healthy. That being said, Rudy Gobert has won Defensive Player of the Year on a Utah Jazz team that was fifth in the standings. And this is before Rudy Gobert became Rudy Gobert, whatever that means to people. But the guy who won Defensive Player of the Year 4 different times.
Rudy's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, and honestly, he had a really good case last year. It is shocking to me that he was so not considered last season, given that the Wolves were still a great defense. And all of the rim protectors, I was ready to be all right, who's the new rim protector? And then I looked at all the numbers and all the data, and it was yeah, no, it's still Rudy. It's just Rudy Gobert. That's just who he is. I have a lot of interesting long shots to take a flyer on. Sprinkle is what we always use. That's kind of a term. Throw a quarter at. Joe, I'll ask you what yours are. I'll give you mine. I think if you, similar with the injury issue, I totally understand if you want to bypass Anthony Davis. But there is just a very simple, if Anthony Davis plays 70 games, he played 70 games because the Mavericks were competitive. If they're not competitive, he won't play 70 games. So if you play 70 games, the Mavericks were competitive. If the Mavericks are competitive, it's because of their defense. And if their defense is good, Anthony Davis is going to get the credit. And he is definitely at the top of the how has this guy not won a DPOY? Or recently, right? So I think Anthony Davis 3,500. If it wasn't for Hanson Yang on the Blazers, I would love Donovan Clingan. His block rate is absurd. He blocks everything. He's a monster. I think he's going to be awesome. He's got to learn not to foul. Lots of DPOY winners were in that kind of a spot. If the Blazers are an elite defense and we do the same thing we've done, which is like, X team is an elite defense. Why? Because of all their perimeter defenders. Well, we can't give it to a perimeter defender because we're morons. So instead, we're going to give it to the best guy. The guy blocks a lot of shots. Then Donovan Clingan can win this award. Sneaky one? Very, very sneaky. Way down at 201. Adem Bona.
Wow.
Right. So, right. No, listen, think about this, okay?
I thought I had a pull.
Bona wound up last year with a 98th percentile block rate at 7.4. Okay. So, and a 76% defensive rebound rate. So he's going to like rebounds and blocks. If we look at it from the idea of Embiid plays half a season, but not enough, Bona is full-time backup center, and the Sixers defense is good under Nurse with those kind of numbers. Like, that's the kind of like long shot I actually want to get into at 200 to 1. Like, that to me is actually like a little interesting. Joe, what are some names you like for this award if in fact Victor Wembanyama does not walk to it?
So I kind of am in a similar boat in terms of like wanting some super long shots. I think I like Zoo. I think that I think this goes up to, I've seen as high as like 100 to 1 on him to win DPOY. And I just think that Clippers defense, obviously there's all the things going on about the Clippers right now, but he was an anchor for them, put up some big numbers, was averaging like basically 12 rebounds a game. I think that he is, as the league is kind of starting to shift bigger, some of his defensive metrics I think are going to start popping a little bit better. I think that he was in the conversation for most improved. He was in the conversation for DPOY last year. Obviously, there were a certain number of injuries there, but the Clippers still had a great defense. They were top 5. I think they were 4th in defensive estimated plus minus. So they were great defensively. I think that Zoo is worth a look at that kind of extended number. But the number and the name that it's always hard to get away from him. But Jonathan Isaac is 250 to 1. And this guy is a monster. He's so good whenever he plays. But that's the problem. It's whenever he plays.
I will say he played 71 games last year, but he only played 15 minutes per.
Yes, and I think that's the thing. Like, you need him to play. He's got to get to like 25. I think that's really what the biggest issue is. But I mean, if you look at dunks and threes, he was 6th in defensive EPM. And that was in just 17 minutes a game. So I think that there is something to that with Isaac, where if he is able to maybe play 25 minutes, then that Magic defense is going to be even more insane than it's been. And they were 3rd last year in defensive rating or adjusted defensive rating. Wouldn't shock me to see them crack number 1 if Isaac's able to play, some more extended minutes in another year. It's just such a long number.
I know, but it's like, if the Magic are an elite defense, doesn't Wendell Carter Jr. have a higher chance of getting there because he's going to start?
Probably. It's tough because it's just, there's so many other dudes there that can get a look.
Goga.
Yeah.
I think Suggs is the guy if the Magic are like a top 1 or 2 defense again, and Orlando is just top 2 or 3 seed in the East. I think they'll actually look to the perimeter player for once.
I mean, it's funny because it's like, the guy that should win that is Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
But I'm just tired of betting guards. I'm so tired of betting guards and knowing they have the best case. And then the voters just being like, yes. It's like, big man, block ball, big man, grab ball.
It's tough because honestly, the guy that I'd love to bet on Amen Thompson, but I just can't.
That's exactly.
I really am struggling to rationalize betting like on an 18-1 when I don't think that like if Wemby is just healthy, it's gonna go to him. Like that's kind of where my issue is.
I guess I will ask this.
But what if
Wemby's not healthy? Doesn't Chet if Chet is? Doesn't Chet win?
Probably. But
can you bet on both of them being unhealthy though?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're also. I mean, you're getting 7-1 on Chet, 18-1 on Amen. Like if you wanted to build a position just even at the top of the board, just saying I want these two. That's not Wemby. I don't totally hate it. I just think that Amen is going to play a ton of minutes. I think the defense is going to be better for Houston. I think it's totally within the realm of possibility that they have the best defense in the league next year.
Exactly.
And I think it just could be one of those situations where you look at Amen's numbers and you go, holy cow, like this guy defends everybody and he's on the floor all the time. He's defending multiple positions. And he's not, he's an athletic freak, but he's not like physically in terms of his like stature where you're saying, oh my God, he's like literally one of one. We've never seen anybody with these, this construct before.
I want to look at who finished the season really strong defensively, because I feel like this is probably an indicator because we know the team's going to have a pretty elite defense. That's why Dyson Daniels was never going to win. It's actually surprising the Cavs that Mobley won because the Cavs defense wasn't top.
Yeah.
Post All-Star defensive rating. Warriors were number 1. Raptors were number 2.
Huh? I'm not betting on Jakob Poeltl. And are you, or is this a Scotty Barnes conversation?
Barnes play.
Amen Thompson is the one that I want. That's the one that I'm probably going to bet.
I get it. It's just like Amen's never going to be able to. He's just not going to have the box score stuff. And
wait, you don't think he is?
No. Because the other thing is like now the scouting report's out on him, and they're just gonna they're going to do what they do with elite defenders, which is they're gonna force a switch, and then they're gonna be like moving him over here.
Cool, you'll switch onto Jabari Smith. Like
I did see something.
Men won't win.
I think here's the thing. To Joe's point, if Houston is if Houston is the best defense thing. If Houston's the number 1 seed in the Western Conference or number 2 seed in the Western Conference, both of which I think are very much in play, Amen's the guy. I don't think it's going to be Jabari Smith, and it's definitely not going to be Alperen Sengun or Kevin Durant. They're not going to get Defensive Player of the Year consideration.
No,
it's
but
not going to be Reed Shepard. It's not going to be Fred VanVleet.
Yeah, but you can't use this logic though, because it's like if you're going off of wins and you're like, well, what if they win? If they get the 1 seed, you mean like the Thunder did? And they have an elite defense. But you mean like the Thunder did?
Cleveland was a 1 seed. Cleveland was a 1 seed. And last year was just kind of like, we got to give the award to somebody. Evan Mobley is going to get it.
Yeah.
Because Chet was hurt. Wemby was hurt, which we just talked about. Can I just bet on both of those things happening again? Will they? I don't know. But both of those guys, if you just look at them, they're probably going to have injuries throughout the course of their career. Like that's how this goes. And if anybody is going to, I don't want to say break the perimeter player mold, because I mean, I guess Marcus Smart did that, but you get what I'm saying here. Like Amen, it has to be somebody like this who's like a freakish athlete who actually has a shot to being a first-time All-Star this year, which I think would help.
Yeah, but again, what's the defensive metric that he's going to like? Steals? Dyson Daniels had it. No shot.
He has steals and blocks.
He's going to have stocks, but the problem is the stocks aren't going to, they're just not going to line up compared to like
I don't know.
Because Wemby's going to be at like 4.
That's fine, but he's 8'12". Like we know that he's going to be at 4. And is he going to play 65 games? Amen Thompson could legitimately, I'm not even joking, because he had 2.7 stocks per game last year. He can get to 2 steals and 1.5 blocks. Who does that?
I get what you're saying, because like they'll have more attention, but the problem is like once you open the door to but what about this perimeter player? Now you got to talk about Tamani Camera. Like you have to.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Portland's not going to be that good. Why do I have to talk about Tamani Camara? They're not going to be that good. Portland?
But here's the problem. Bryan, like this has never been a wins award. It's a defensive rating award. But this has never been like a. This has never been a. If you win a lot of games, you're in consideration for DPOY. Like if they get the 1 seed, KD's more likely to win MVP than Amen is to win DPOY.
Okay, but Tumani is not going to win the award because Portland might be a play-in team at best. Like you have to be better than that.
But if Portland's got a top 5 defense and the Rockets don't,
you think Portland's going to have a top 5 defense? I don't think Portland's going to have a top 5 defense.
Last season, post All-Star, number 4.
I also don't think, because they're coming from a place where they were not a playoff team last year. They have a better chance of Chauncey Billups getting Coach of the Year if they're going to make that jump.
I think with what you're saying, I think Udoka's got a better chance of winning Defensive Player of the Year or winning Coach of the Year than Amen winning DPOY.
I guess they were just a 2 seed, and then they traded for Kevin Durant.
The voters that we know messed this award up. What is the thing that's going to make you think that they're going to vote for Amen?
Because he's going to have the gaudy numbers for a perimeter player that Lou Dort doesn't have.
What gaudy steals?
You know how simplistic these voters are. These voters do not understand how to measure perimeter defense. But they didn't
vote for Dyson last year.
Dyson is not better than Amen Thompson.
The Hawks
were also a play-in team. Like this is not the same thing. The Rockets are projected to be really, really, really good. And I think it's more likely that Amen Thompson gets Defensive Player of the Year, that Ime Udoka gets Coach of the Year, if Houston is actually going to be like that level team. Amen Thompson, I think you're sleeping on the socks, because he's going to get that, and some people are just going to be like, duh, steals, blocks, we're going to give him the award. Like, that's it. Like,
but they will always, in that instance, go to a big man. That's why the big man wins the award, Bryan.
Why did Marcus Smart win the award?
Because Robert Williams got hurt.
Okay, but they didn't pivot to another big man. They could have, but they didn't pivot to another big man that year.
Because they rewarded the team defense of Boston, not the team success.
So you don't think? But why can't? So why could Portland's team defense get rewarded and not Houston's? Or why could Atlanta's team defense get rewarded and not Houston's? When Houston's going to be a better defense, and it's clear that Amen Thompson's their best defensive player, and he also does it. He also does it without the stats, but he also does it with the only thing I'm trying to argue with
Tumani is this: is that when you start having these debates, or you're writing it out, and people are talking about it on TV, whatever, and it's like, well, Houston's an elite defensive team; they're 4th in defense. Well, Portland's 3rd. Oh, and Amen's got all these stocks. Tumani's got these numbers. Like, Tumani's that good.
He is. But
I think Amen Thompson
is really
like,
good. But
Amen's like one of my favorite players in the league. He legitimately already is. I think the kid's amazing.
I think Tumani's really good too, but he's not getting Defensive Player of the Year. You know,
he's also not getting the eyes.
I know, Bryan. I know Tumani Cameron's not winning Defensive Player of the Year. He's a guard, just like Amen Thompson.
No, Amen Thompson is different, and you know this from a league where you have a lot of the best athletes in the world. He's one of the best athletes in that pool of athletes, and it's very obvious when you just watch him. And they're going to have more national TV games, and he's going to have more of a spotlight.
To your credit, he got 9 first-place votes last year, 12 second-place votes last year. Like, he was already 5th on the ballot. Like, to your credit, Amen was already 5th on the ballot. I have a hard time believing that that's going to go up. I actually think that part of this too is I will deeply warn you of this. Amen's usage is going to go up. Even with KD around, Amen's usage is going to go up. He's going to have a bigger role in the offense without Jalen Green around. Every single player will tell you that once your offensive usage goes up, your defensive energy goes down.
Yeah, that's true.
Every single one.
That's true. But again, he can put up the numbers. Like even if the actual advanced defensive metrics take a hit, he can actually put up the numbers that would impress the simpleton voters who are probably just going to look at the basic.
Let me run you through one more. If we're gonna, because you keep trying to play both sides, where you're like, they're simple voters, but also they're going to look at these like defensive. No,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Amen Thompson transcends all that stuff.
If the Hawks are a top 3 seed, and neither Chet or Wemby is available, and it's Dyson versus Amen, who's going to win?
Why would it be Dyson? Like, so convincing.
Steals? Are you out of your mind?
Amin
His steal
Thompson's going to
numbers
have
are
steals
historic.
and blocks. Amin Thompson as a
They
guard.
don't care about guard blocks. They're not going to care about it. They're just going to. That's Dyson was second last year.
Will they not care about guard blocks if they're over a block per game?
No,
I disagree.
Okay, but
I disagree. I'm going. It's not even like he's minus 100.
I know.
What's his number right now?
18.
Yeah. What are we talking about?
But if you're doing that, you should bet Dyson. You should bet Tumani.
I'm not betting Tumani. They're just.
You're talking about me asleep. You are under the grave about Tumani.
I like Tumani. He's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
And actually, you want to know the actual answer
Dyson
here
Daniels could, but
you know who it might be? It might be like we've talked about Asar for MIP. Like Asar is actually another option here too.
Yeah, Asar is going to be awesome again.
Yeah.
Can I annoy you even more with my long shot at I don't know, 1,000 to 1 or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Can I sell you on OG Anunoby?
Yeah. Let's go. Knicks podcast.
Thoughts and prayers since Jalen Brunson's going to be raptured off the earth in this scenario. But
what?
You can't win. They cannot. He cannot. I'll tell you this. OG Anunoby cannot win DPOY if Jalen Brunson plays more than 50 games. Can't do it.
What's the correlation there?
The defensive rating is going to be shit.
Joe, what happens to the defensive rating when Jalen Brunson's on the floor?
Oh, no.
It's not good. It's not great. But
what happened last season? What was the best stretch of last season defensively for the New York Knicks, Joe?
Well, it's because they only had to play.
When Mitchell Robinson came back.
Well, no, they only had to play one of Cat or Brunson. So that swings things a little bit. But I will say that was also under Tibbs when everybody's playing like 40 minutes a game. Assuming that maybe everybody plays some fewer minutes a game, maybe that comes up a little bit. But
I think the case for OG is simple. One, it's the number's too long. I don't think he's going to win it, to be honest with you, but the number's too long. What I would say, though, is if there's a player who can win Defensive Player of the Year and probably won't deserve it, it'll probably be on a Knicks team who's just always in your face. In terms of there's going to be the biggest Knicks media push that we've seen probably in our lifetimes. This is their most high-profile season in 30-plus years. OG Anunoby is going to be guarding the other team's best player all the time, and there's going to be a lot talked about in terms of what he's actually doing from a defensive perspective. The reason I don't love it necessarily, but I'm fine with it at the number, is also because of things you said and the health history. He was healthy last year. That hasn't always been the case. But I do think that the Knicks are going to be in play for a lot of different things because of narrative stuff. And also, they are going to be really good. And if anybody's going to have a shot from this team, it's going to be OG. Unless Mitchell Robinson plays, 28 minutes a game. But that's
if Mitchell Robinson plays 65 games, the Knicks might have the best defense in the league.
Not going to happen. The OG ticket is more of a fun ticket that I think will, it'll gain him. It won't be as long of a number as
the fact that everybody's like, yeah, the Knicks are going to be really good is why I'm instinctively just like, oh, so it's going to be a massive disappointment and everyone's going to be frustrated. Got it.
I think good. Regular season, yes. Playoffs, there's some matchups that I think concern me on their behalf. But that's an April discussion.
All right, let's have most improved player real quick at DraftKings Sportsbook. Most improved player, your leader in the clubhouse is Andrew Nemhard. Plus 1,200 is your favorite. Denny Avdia slipped plus 1,400. Benedict Mathurin, 18-1. Asar is at 18-1. We talked about him with Jim Turvey. And then Thompson, if you want to double dip and just say that he's going to win all the awards for some reason, 20-1. Peyton Pritchard, 22-1. Josh Giddey, 22-1. Scoot Henderson, 25-1. Shaden Sharp, 30-1. Max Christie is an interesting one at 30-1. Modest Buzelis at 30-1. Jonathan Kuminga at 30-1. And I'll give two more. Jared McCain at 30-1. And Trey Murphy III at 30-1. Bryan, when you look at this market, what's your read?
We don't often get this right. Because in looking at just some of the winners, I'm like, the Ja Morant one was atrocious. I hate giving most improved top 5 picks who just developed. I think that's bullshit. I didn't even think Dyson Daniels should have gotten it last year. I thought Zubats should have improved. So, me and the voters disagree on criteria. I kind of like, though, for some reason, like what if the Pistons are, I don't know, a 4 seed? Does it have to be Asar Thompson, or could Jaden Ivey actually pick up where he left off last year in terms of injury? Because he was playing well before he got hurt.
Ooh, I like this.
What if Jaden Ivey is because we're like, oh, the Pistons need a creator, the Pistons need offense, they need a number 2. There's Jaden Ivey trade rumors, maybe there's not. He needs the extension, whatever. And I'm like, what if Jaden Ivey's good? And his production was under the radar last year because the Pistons were still trying to prove they were a playoff team when he got hurt. So he was hitting his threes consistently. He was legitimately creating. He's somebody you can go to in the fourth quarter of games at times. It's not always pretty. But he's going to, I think, take a step this year. He's one that I think there's real value on if the Pistons are legit. Because the way I think the East is going to play out is like tier 1 teams in the East right now, just on paper. We'll see how it actually plays out. Cleveland, New York. Then I think Orlando's right on their ass on paper. And then the other teams that I think will be good, but ultimately we'll see, are like Atlanta, Detroit. I don't know how to feel about Milwaukee or Philly yet. I don't know what to do with the Heat or the Bulls yet. But I think Detroit can be real. Like, I think Detroit can get into that top 4, top 5. And Ivy can prove to be maybe this is a legit number 2 next to Cade, who everyone has now accepted as a number 1, as an all-star, maybe a perennial all-star for years to come. Ivy is probably the guy here in terms of the guys on the short list, or I guess top 10 in odds, that I probably gravitate to the quickest. Everyone else kind of worries me. And with Asar, I wonder if he's going to have the jump in production because the offensive game needs more polish, where I feel like Jaden Ivey's kind of already there from a voter standpoint. Even though, again, I don't love giving the award to top 5 picks, but Ivy coming off the injury, and I think the way, like, this is not who I think would win it, I think, or who I would want from a criteria standpoint, but the voters, I can see Jaden Ivey making an impression there if he's, producing like a borderline all-star, I guess.
I mean, I like this a lot. I think Jaden is really underrated right now because he was great for them before the injury, and the Pistons win that series versus the Knicks, so they have Jaden Ivey 100%. I think Jaden is that's a great pick. He's at 50-1 at DraftKings, so I am down with this one. This is a very good pick by Bryan Fonseca. Joe Dellera. Thoughts on MIP?
I just don't think so. I'll preface this with I don't think it is going to be any of the Pacers. I think that they're going to eat into each other. I think that team is not going to be very good. And I think that I'm very comfortable chucking the favorites. I do not think it will be either of Nembhard or Mathurin. With that being said, I do think that there's 2 players that I'm interested in, and they're both at pretty long numbers. I don't know if they were already like kind of they're already like too good where the improvement's going to be difficult. But I do think that both Trey Murphy and Brandon Miller are very interesting to me because I think that both can scale what they do. They both shoot threes. They both are very comfortable with the ball, and they're both on like bad teams, or sort of bad teams where they could maybe be good if they're healthy. And especially for Brandon Miller in the Eastern Conference, I think it's a little bit easier for the Hornets to maybe like sneak into a play-in spot, and you're like, man, this guy's good. Like, he's actually getting some of these looks. He's getting that opportunity. He's playing awesome. I think that Brandon Miller is definitely worth a look at 50-1. And I think that Trey Murphy is kind of in a similar situation. No Brandon Ingram. He only played 51 games last year. So I think that I feel like Jim was on him last season. But then there were the injuries and some of the other things with him. He wasn't getting enough. He just didn't play enough games. I do wonder because they both were averaging essentially 21 points a game last season. Is there enough room for them to jump Like, what do we need to get to? We probably need to get to like a 24 points per game. And I don't know if either of them can do that in this, like, kind of in their roles here. But I do think it's possible. And that type of leap would definitely be like all-star leap. They're going to be in people's faces. They're going to be getting a lot of looks. And I think that they're both respected enough, at least for Miller from his draft pedigree. And then I think Trey Murphy is looked at as like a very, very popular piece that maybe I think the Pelicans want to build around him, but it's also entirely possible, like maybe he gets traded to a contender. Like who knows if they're not in the situation. And then you go, oh yeah, like this guy's really, really good. But then the concern is obviously that the counting numbers don't pop the same way.
I think the Heat are going to be really good, Brian.
Bam Adebayo, most improved, scores 24.
I was staring at Nikola Jovic. You have no idea?
No.
It's not Jovic?
No.
Davion, right?
I don't care how many threes he hit against Bulgaria or whatever 2 months ago. I do not care.
Hey, he played really well against Finland in a do or die game.
Yeah.
They died, but not because
they died
for Jokic.
Yeah, they died. Davion. Davion's 100-1.
Yeah.
Is he gonna have the offense though?
I mean, he's basically averaging like 10 dimes a game. So, I mean, what do you think he's going to score though, Matt? Like, because I think he could average like 8 assists a game. I think he's got to score.
Is that enough to get him the award? When it's always gone to scoring.
I feel like he's got to. Let me see.
Well, so look, Hero's out for at least the first month of the season.
Yeah,
could be 2. Because Ethan Skolnick is saying 8 to 12 weeks. 12 weeks puts you close to Christmas. That would be roughly 26 games or something along those lines. The first month would be 13, 14, whatever it is. And now Davion, who might have been coming off the bench before this, looks like he can start in a lineup with Norman Powell, Wiggins, Bam, and either Ware or Jovic. So they need some measure of creativity there, aside from Powell and whatever Bam's going to do. Like, he'll just figure out a way to get 18 to 20. So Davion probably needs to get 16 and 8 to really get consideration.
If you look at the post All-Star last year, 31 minutes a game, 10.6 points, 2.9 rebounds, 5.5 assists.
With Tyler Hero.
Like 14.7% usage. The problem is, I'm like, I don't know. Like, how much usage can you rationally give to Davion Mitchell in that offense? Like, I think that's really what it is, because he probably needs to get he's got to get to 16 points. I think he's got to. You got to be scoring 16 points a game, and then he needs like 8.
If Bam and Ware start, he has a better chance. If it's Bam and Jovic, I think Jovic is going to have the ball a lot. Because I think Spo is like, now, all right, let me see what he can do in a contract year, assuming that they may extend him. I don't know. But I'm surprised it's not Jovic for you, Matt.
No.
Why not?
No, because
the thing is, though, guy's number.
But like, he's good. I think he's good.
Is he?
I think he's good. I think
he's good. He's good in Eurobasket. Again, he killed Bulgaria.
He's functional in the NBA in the NBA. He's functional when they. It depends on the role they give him. If they just stand him in the corner. That's the thing
is, like, you can think he's good and that's fine. But if Spo doesn't think he's good enough to play consistently, I'm going to side with Spo.
But without Tyler Hero now, like almost by force, he has to have the ball. He's gonna have. He should have. He should have. I think without Hero, a top 4 usage on this team now.
Yeah, I'm back to all the Blazers. I'm like Scoot Henderson, 25-1.
Yeah, I think I could be more convinced by a Blazer than I could. I could definitely be more convinced by a Blazer than I could be for a Pacer. For this award, I think Denny does.
I do have a Pacer to throw at you.
Okay,
Rip Carlisle. High pace offense. If Isaiah Jackson either isn't healthy enough or can't win the starting center position, Jay Huff.
I mean,
wow.
They do have the offense in place for a 3-point shooting big.
Yeah,
which is important.
Yes.
The problem is, I think Like the team's probably
It's
gonna be
Shea Huff.
bad. Like, yeah, the team's gonna
Shea
be
Huff.
bad. There was like a week in Memphis where J Huff was amazing, like just absolutely amazing.
That's true.
And
Wait,
then
this
it
is
just
actually wild. Wait, this is
faded.
actually wild. Why is Terrence Shannon Jr. 60-1?
How much is he going to play? I guess is probably
Look at their
the
injury
question.
situation. Look at Mike Conley's age.
No, I think he will.
Dante gets banged up. Jaden gets banged up.
Or Dante gets traded.
Yeah.
Is there a world in which Wemby can win Most Improved Player? He's
No.
50-1.
He better.
Like, we've seen dumber.
He better not.
Honestly, I'm not even kidding. We have seen dumber things.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna rule it out. I'm not gonna rule it out just because it's like, this award it honestly shouldn't be. It doesn't in the name. Most improved isn't like most surprisingly improved.
Yeah.
To me, like there's an implied like, hey, you should reward the guys that you didn't think were gonna be this good that are.
Yeah.
Like that's like an implication for me, but I mean, look, man, they want to give him triple winner, DPOY, most improved player, MVP.
Imagine winning MIP and MVP in the same year.
That'd be amazing.
Can I give you
close.
Can I give you
All right,
another name?
do it.
Can I give you another name before we get out of here?
One before we get out of here. One more.
What if Onyeka Okongwu is like really good, or as good as people think?
I like this.
And what if Kristaps Porzingis? Because Okongwu's number is, what is it? It's a really long number. It's like ridiculous. It's like around 100 to 1.
It's 100 to 1.
100 to 1.
So, and Porzingis, we all think is going to miss time just because he's Porzingis. He played Eurobasket. We just all assume he's going to miss time. And if we're building that in, Okongwu's going to have even more opportunities. I do think with Atlanta, this is the best team that Trae Young has had around him from a functional standpoint. I think this team on paper is better than the team that made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, given that they had like all the breaks in their favor. I think this team is better put together. And if Okongwu is like, if his skill set is really comes to fruition, I guess, in a way that the nerds think. Because I think he's more of a nerd favorite than he is an actual favorite. But I really like Onyeka Okongwu, and I think I don't know what the numbers have to be. Is where I'm going back and forth with this. The defense obviously has to be good, but he gave you basically 13.5 points, 9 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. I feel like the numbers have to be better than 15, 10, and 3 though.
In a similar kind of mindset, don't bet this, but the guy that I know I'm going to wind up advocating for is Musa Diabate.
Oh yeah, like, dude's awesome.
I'm gonna be like screaming from the hills that Musa Diabate should win Most Improved Player.
Can he lead the league in rebounds?
He will not. All right, let's go do it. Thanks for joining us on Buckets. Back next week as we get started with some more regular content. We'll start rolling through awards officially, making official best bets. We'll roll through divisions and conferences and all sorts of stuff coming up. Let us know what you want us to hear from us here on Buckets. You can catch us on Twitter. I'm at HP Basketball. Joe's at Joe Dellera. Bryan Fonseca's at Bryan Fonseca NY. Download the Action Network app. My thanks to David Payne, our producer. Giver Gould on the video side. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.